Oh, just a second.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the FPL Banger Show. My name is Siva. I'm joined by Sam for the Game Week 2 preview. How was Game Week 1, Sam?
I can't complain. I started off really badly, On day 2, I was ranked like 7 mil or something. And I did not realize how differential my team was because I don't check these kind of things. So after the second day, I only had like 3 players I've played or something like that. Ended up all right, though. And I think I'm higher than you, Siva.
What? Okay, what's your score? I had 69.
I had 71, so I mean, just marginally.
Yeah,
Survived going without Brighton.
Oh, yeah, you did go without Brighton. I mostly survived because of Triple Brighton in the end. I got really unlucky because having had a very settled team for most of the week, I don't know about you, Sam. Okay, you're better than me, right? You went to sleep at about half an hour before deadline. You said, I'm done, I'm locked in. I stayed up, watched Andy's stream, and of course got the early team news for City and for Arsenal. So I brought in KDB because KDB was starting, and I thought, hey, I mean, KDB, nobody's gonna own him. Nobody thinks he's starting. Burnley, what could I lose?
Yeah.
And he looked really good. Like he created the first goal. It was his cross that
The full 20 minutes that he was on, he looked good.
because so the match happens at about 3 o'clock in Malaysia, 3 a.m. right, and so I'm watching half asleep. But the first 20 minutes, he's on fire. He takes shots. He's running the game, and then suddenly his hamstring goes. 23 minutes in, and yeah. So the best thing about that was I went to sleep. I just that was a
That's a turning point for you.
yeah. So I got a good night's sleep. But how did you feel about the Gabriel leak? Because that's the one that had caused a lot of controversy. Now, for those who don't know, let's talk FPL. So Andy, obviously the most watched content creator out there. So he has this live stream, deadline stream, and I would say about 3 minutes before deadline, he suddenly says, "I'm doing something. I have to do something." He sounds all hesitant. He takes out Gabriel. He puts in Saliba. He says, "I can't explain why. It's just I have some information. I'm not sure. It could be wrong." He doesn't give you any real context, but then he says he can't really because he's not sure. So some people who didn't see the leak very angry about it because, as we know, the next day Gabriel was benched. Others who did see it made the change. Saliba then gets the assist. Or if you're like me, being really stupid, I made the switch to Ben White and then somehow managed to get less points with the more expensive guy. How do you feel about this thing, Sam?
Your Ben White obsession, Siva.
But how do you feel about it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. We had City Leaks last year. Do you remember that? Coming in like 1-2 minutes before the deadline and stuff like that. It's been happening for years. Nothing new. Just a bigger platform, I guess, because it's happening on a YouTube live stream, whereas previously it was just TikTok. I mean, not TikTok, Twitter account, right? Yeah. So I mean, it's been happening all the time. You can't change it. The only people who can do anything about it is FPL themselves if they, I don't know, push the deadline earlier or something like that. But anyway, it is what it is. I took out Gabriel, but not because of the stream. Totally unrelated incident. I took out Gabriel like 30 minutes before the deadline. So
you just had a feeling.
Just had a feeling, man. Use the money to upgrade to get Maddison in.
I think I can see a lot of people are really upset about this leak, but I honestly don't know what even the Premier League can do because Andy got Arsenal news almost a full day before it even came out. Like that's ridiculous. Like this is not even a few hours before stream, right? Arsenal playing on Saturday. He has it on Friday night. Like so, I mean, you really can't do anything about it. You just gotta laugh about it, and it's unfair for people who can't be around during deadline time. But I mean, it is what it is. You just can't do anything about it, I think.
Yeah. It is what it is. Unless the Premier League moves it back like one day. But then you might have someone getting news few minutes before the deadline. No matter when you set the deadline, right? It can always happen. So
yeah,
what can you do about it?
Yeah, you just take things as they come. So let's talk about the games, right? So our first question this week, and I thought that is a good sort of framing device for the rest of the show, was from Christina. Any early preconceptions about the season that might already be proven wrong? For instance, weak teams that look stronger than expected or strong teams that look worse than expected. So I thought Chelsea Liverpool is a really good place to start because I found this a really fascinating game. Like 20 minutes in, you obviously had Salah, Sam. I didn't.
I had Salah, I had Chilwell. I had both of them. And I watched the whole game.
What did you think? Because I thought after about 20 minutes, I messaged you and said, I'm terrified here. Like, you're going to have some mega 30-point haul from Salah.
Yeah. I was my wife was sleeping next to me. I was watching it in bed on my phone. It's like when Salah scored, I had to give out a silent shout, like as quiet as I can, and then it got ruled out. And I was like, okay. A few minutes later, Chilwell scored, happened again. It's like silent cheering. And then it got disallowed again. what can I say, man? There was could have propelled me to, I don't know, top one. I don't know what rank I could have been if it went through. But it didn't, and rightfully so. I have to say it was both offside. To answer the question though, any early preconceptions about the season that might already be proven wrong? Yes, maybe, but we also don't know for sure. Game week 1, things can happen in game week 1 that does not carry on for the rest of the season. I remember last year Spurs had a big win in game week 1. I remember Kulusevski looking so good. I brought him in immediately. He proceeded to blank for like the rest of the season or something like that. So things can happen in game week 1 that may not necessarily mean it will keep happening throughout the entire season. Someone could look strong in game week 1 and then just play badly the rest, and vice versa. So yeah, I don't think we can put too much on just one game. We'll have a better indication of their form, their playing styles after, a few games into the season.
Okay, fair. I guess don't overreact to just a single game is an acceptable conclusion. But I do think like a lot of the things we were worried about Liverpool in preseason we see some sort of evidence in that in this game, because we were concerned, right? A lot of us didn't own Trent, and the reason was he's expensive, but also they don't have a defensive midfielder. And once Chelsea got over that initial phase, I think the turning point is when Salah's goal is disallowed, and then they sort of calmed down. They just kept finding so much space behind. Like, you can't. What was he? He was playing 3 cams and 3 attackers. Like, you.
I think not having a proper 6 is actually bad for Trent, because although he's pushed up to the midfield, unlike last year where he was a right back kind of inverting in and have license to go up, this time he kind of stayed at the back. He was actually a holding midfielder. There were times where he was on the left. He was properly covering everyone, which is really bad for returns. Definitely not worth it for a 8 million defender. And like you said, Liverpool's midfield definitely is weak. Once Chelsea got a hold of the game, I think Enzo was so good that game. He basically controlled the whole midfield, and then everything dried up front, right? Like none of them could get anything. So Salah was isolated. Actually, all of them were isolated. Chelsea basically won the midfield battle and suffocated Liverpool's attack. Not necessarily it will happen every week, because this is Chelsea. They have Enzo, one of the best. I genuinely feel one of the best midfielders in the league.
Yeah.
So not every team will have a midfield like that, and their attackers definitely will be able to go through 12 out of the 20 teams. Sorry, any team outside the top 8, I think they can do it. So I'm not too concerned holding on to Salah for now, but definitely we'll be monitoring how they go.
Yeah, we'll talk about captaincy later, because it'd be interesting to see sort of where you land, and also perhaps, where everyone else is landing. What are the odds saying? Because on the evidence of this performance, having calmed down after the first 20 minutes, like, I'm not as concerned about not owning Salah. But like you say, it's one game, and maybe Klopp makes adjustments, and maybe Salah goes crazy, and it is at home next week. So
maybe they finally sign a proper DM.
They keep every time they want to sign a DM, it looks like Chelsea keep buying them. So I'm just hoping.
He's just doing it out of spite. Like every bid Liverpool puts in, they're just gonna put in higher.
I'm really hoping Liverpool try and get back Henderson, and then Chelsea just sign him anyway.
And then loans him back to the team they signed it from. That would be like the pettiest thing. Anyway, yes, there is a graphic right now on the screen on Ben Chilwell. Ben Chilwell was the standout performer in that game to me. He was basically a striker. How we used to joke about Marcos Alonso playing as a striker for Chelsea? I would say Chilwell was even more attacking in some cases. So really, really good. I'm so happy I own Chilwell. Very happy I did not bench him for that. And he played out pretty much how I expected it to. right back being weak, Chilwell can exploit the space. It's great. You should get Chilwell if you don't.
Yeah, price rise already to 5.6 million. I sadly did bench Chilwell. Never going to do that again. I've learned my lesson. I didn't suffer too badly, but I mean, 7 points. I think I was lucky to get away with only benching 7. He could have
Yeah.
had 13, 14, 15, 16. I
He
think.
had a goal disallowed and
Yeah.
another goal. Was it he hit the post or was it just
Uh,
close? I can't.
Close.
Yeah.
He had a one-on-one which was saved, and the
Yeah.
goal that was disallowed. I mean, the tiniest of margins, and his finish was excellent. Like one-on-one
Mhm.
against Alisson. I think Poch spoke about it after the game, and he said that he was playing Colwell Levi Colwell, who's a centre back, more of a left back, and Chilwell was then allowed to advance as a left winger. He did so well that I think you'll see that more often. Chilwell spoke about it in preseason, like Pochettino wants him to play in certain games further forward. And I think given how well it went against Liverpool and how much problems he caused, I'd be surprised if you don't see that again against West Ham.
I agree. And I think with Chelsea signing Caicedo, probably Lavia, not confirmed yet as of recording, but probably confirmed by the time you're listening to this podcast. Yeah, I think that would just improve their whole defensive situation. You know, two of maybe the best midfielders. With Enzo, they might have the best midfield in the whole Premier League, the best midfield trio at least. So it sounds good for their defensive assets as well. More clean sheets, hopefully. I'm even thinking about doubling up on a Chelsea defender because I am looking for another 4.5. Double, I'll have to double up, but if you look at them in isolation, you know, the Chelsea 4.5, so whether it's Colwill or Axel Diassi, right?
Disasi,
Disassi, sorry.
who
Yeah,
scored?
so yeah, and who scored? So yeah, they in isolation they are the best 4.5. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just double up since I got a feeling it might go well the next few weeks, especially with their good fixtures. So
What do you think about Reece James?
I mean he's injured, right? Is he injured?
He's apparently tired, not injured.
Mm.
That's what Pochettino said. He's the exact quote was, "He's not injured, he's tired." I thought he was saying he's tired of getting injured, but apparently,
you,
yes,
you
he came
know
up
the
for 80
risk.
minutes.
Yeah, you know the risk with Reece James, right? He could get injured anytime, and with his injury record, won't be surprised if he gets a lot of rest. You know, Poch want to make sure he's fit, make sure he stays uninjured, as hard as that is. So, and even if he was playing 90, I still think he was a better asset. Just from this first game, at least, from what we can see.
Yeah, definitely. Chilwell was more advanced, taking more of the shots. Reece was getting high up, but probably crossing more rather than being the guy on the end of the shots. And I think that makes sense because if you think about where they've been playing in past seasons, Reece James has far more experience going backwards as a right centre back than Chilwell has, coming backwards. So I think it makes sense that if you're trying to do like a sort of lopsided attack, Chilwell's the one who you push up rather than Reece.
Yeah, definitely.
And Robert Sanchez, goalkeeper, 4.5. Now, starting with Kepa sold, would you? I mean, we don't make keeper transfers, right? But would you consider going there?
If I was on Wildcard, maybe. But yeah, I'm not going to make a keeper transfer right now, especially not after one game.
And it feels a bit of a waste to use a Chelsea slot on a keeper. Like, I was quite encouraged by this performance. It's only their first game under Poch, right? The first proper game. Like, and against one of the better teams in the league. Like, I feel like there's more to come. I'd be more interested in getting somebody like Nicholas Jackson. And who knows if
who
once
looked
Lavia,
really good, by the way. Nicholas Jackson looked good.
Yeah.
Came away without any returns, but he was unlucky not to get returns, I would say. Caused a lot of problems in Liverpool's defense.
Yeah, and I think now with Lavia coming and Caicedo coming, you probably see Enzo moving further up. And Enzo's, I think, a better player the further he gets up the pitch. So that Enzo at 5 mil, like that could
he's
be a
5
game
mil.
breaker. Yeah,
I genuinely think so. You know, with Caicedo, with Lavia, he would have a lot of license to push up. I like it. I like an Enzo punt.
There's a chance Enzo Fernandez could be on pens because
if Reece James is out.
No, even if Reece James is on the pitch. Because see, everybody assumes Reece James is on pens because, for those who don't know, Potter gave an interview last season where he spoke about who's on pens and he said Havertz took it, the other guy was Reece James who wanted to take it. So everybody assumes, okay, so Havertz is gone, it must be Reece James. But Reece James has only taken something like 2 pens in actual games. Okay, shootouts, he's taken a few more, but in actual games, he's taken about 2 or 3 pens in his whole career. Fernandes has taken 5, and he scored all 5. So based on who's on the pitch, Nicholas Jackson doesn't have a track record of taking pens. No Nkunku. I don't think it's impossible. Poch is Argentinian. Maybe he gives his fellow Argentinian penalty duties.
Yeah, I mean, right now we have no idea. Basically, we don't. We have a hunch, but we don't actually have an idea until they take their first pen. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, if he was on pens, 5 mil, license to roam up,
Instant.
goals and assists. Whew. So one to keep your eye on, I guess.
Game breaker, I would say. Okay, let's talk about your team, Sam. Let's talk about United. I didn't own Bruno Fernandes, neither did you. And your reassurance for me last week when I asked you, should I get Bruno? You were very sort of qualified and measured. He's good for 8.5, but he's not essential. And I took all that on board, which is why I didn't have him in my team. I don't feel too bad about not owning him.
I think it kind of played out like how we said it would, in which he would play a kind of deeper role. But overall, I don't think this game is just a good picture of United as a whole, because everyone was kind of bad. It was not United's best game. At least we didn't lose, though. We still won. So as a United fan, I'm happy. As an FPL fan, I'm slightly concerned over my United assets, but not enough to transfer them out, after one game. But enough to monitor them at least for the next few games.
Yeah, I mean, you basically won because Onana clothes knighting, or uppercutting or whatever it was against, that's allowed apparently.
I'm not going to go into that. It's too controversial for a FPL podcast.
Yeah, but I think safe to say, there were some interesting stats. I think I read today United lost possession more than 80 times, which is quite impressive in a 90-minute game. They also conceded something like 23 shots. So that's on the screen now. That's the most an opposition team has had at Old Trafford since 2005, which is is that going to happen very often? Because then I might consider getting Onana, because one of the reasons that we didn't have Onana was we said United don't concede that many shots.
No, I think because genuinely, see, what you want is a keeper is conceding a lot of shots, but they have a high chance of saving it. Low XG shots, right? So that happens with Brentford. The way they set up, they let the opponent take long shots. Keeper just claims it, gets your save points, gets your bonus points. In this game, I mean, Onana did finish with bonus points, but I would say United were really lucky that Wolves could not finish, because these were not low XG shots. These were proper one-on-ones. We were playing such a high line, which left so much space behind, and Wolves really exploited that. I think we were lucky not to lose 2-1. So
it feels like they haven't figured out how Mount and Bruno play together yet. It seems like they're sort of in a lot of the same spaces. Casemiro's playing doing all the work for himself. I don't know. It's a bit worrying. Like, I have Luke Shaw, and you did tell me don't get Luke Shaw, and I didn't listen to you. And I definitely will be benching him this week. I didn't feel confident at all.
I'm happy that you are in a position where you can bench a 5.5 defender, Siva.
Yeah, already feeling like a wild card, but let's not get into that. I will stay strong. Okay, let's talk about Newcastle Villa, because again, we're focusing on performances that changed our perceptions. This nobody saw coming, right? Nobody was predicting a 5-1 for Newcastle against Villa, were they?
No. I did think, though, that we were all undervaluing Newcastle strikers, especially Isak, who scored 2 goals, which is great. Still not bringing him in. I know he is one of the most transferred players in right now, but the next game is away against City. Come on. It's literally the worst fixture you can have in the entire season. Game week 3, you want to bring him in, that's fine, I think. A lot of people talk about how bad their fixtures are, but I think Newcastle can score. At home against Liverpool, a Liverpool who is, don't really have a good DM, although they might have one by then. But still, defensively not good. And they're playing at home. Newcastle at home are insane. Their home form last year was great. And then after that, away against Brighton. Yes, Brighton attack a lot, but they also concede a lot of chances. I think their difficulty is overblown. So after game week 2, you can consider Newcastle assets, I think. Attacking assets, at least.
Isn't the issue with Isak? And I mean, fixtures were difficult, but it's not so much the fixtures that are a problem for me. It's still the minutes. Like you can see on the screen, He played 68. Wilson played 22. Throughout preseason, they have not played together, so they've been playing separately
Mm.
this season. I think because last
Plus
season,
we have proper left wings now. Left, yeah.
yeah. So they have Barnes and they have Gordon. Gordon looked really good. Like I was really impressed with Gordon. Got an assist here and looked really strong. Barnes came on and was amazing as a sub, scored and set up one. Like
But
I
I
can't
think
see.
sorry, we need to also consider Villa, who I think a lot of their fans, even during preseason, were criticizing how high their line was, their defensive line, and it showed in this game. They were literally carved open every time because there was so much space behind the defenders. Whether that will happen, with every team, a team that sits back might not suit Gordon and Barnes so much.
That's fair to say because I noticed, and if you watch the highlights, even you'll see that the goals that they considered were fairly similar. Like, it kept happening down that flank where Cash and Konsa were, and they just kept running past them. The line was always, yeah, like you say, too high. They weren't playing the offside trap well. And once Tyrone Mings went off, that seemed to be sort of the trigger when their defense fell apart.
Yeah, exactly. So, but just want to monitor. I think. I mean, Newcastle are a good team. I think over the season, they will be strong. I think they'll be right up there in the top six. Isak too. Yes, reduced minutes is a concern, but at least he will start. At least I think Isak is first choice, and even if he doesn't, he'll probably come on. So at least you get minutes there. Not so ideal for a 7-1-5 forward, but with the way Newcastle are playing, if they keep up this scoring streak, you might not mind it. Last season, towards the end, Wilson was, he wasn't playing 90 minutes every game, but he was still scoring every game. So if they score, it doesn't matter how many minutes they play.
I think that's way too simplistic, mate. I mean, I tried this last season. I got completely burnt. Okay, you had Wilson, I had Isak, and that basically changed my. I went from 20K to 30K in 1 week. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just want to monitor. I'm not saying bring them in now, not before they play City, but just some players to monitor as the season progresses.
Monitor and hope for a Callum Wilson injury. I think that's my plan. Let's see. Not wishing any harm on him. Just
Wait,
just
before we
FPL.
move on, let's talk a bit on Villa.
Oh yeah, let's do that. What's the Diaby? I'm guessing you want to talk about.
Yeah, do you think he looked good?
Looked really good. I mean, he looked really, really good, and yeah, I think it helps that Watkins has somebody competent playing with him,
Mhm.
not just Coutinho and Bailey. I think he really looks good. Good goal. Could have done more, but want to wait and see. I guess. I mean, I don't think the fixtures are so good that you need to jump in like this week. Maybe further down the line. Like Villa have a good run. I think from about game week 9 onwards. I'm
Yeah, I
patient.
mean
Like
they play Everton and Burnley next, which are good fixtures. Liverpool away, so maybe not that good, but still we've already talked about Liverpool and their defense. And Palace, Chelsea. So I mean, it's decent fixtures, scoreable fixtures. I think I wouldn't mind. Of course, I think both of us would advocate saving your transfer if you can in game week 2. But if for whatever reason you're looking for 6.5 mid, I think Diaby should be near the top of your list at least.
would you have him above Brian and Mbeumo?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Pens though.
Pens are great, but you don't get pens all the time. And I felt we'll get to Spurs Brentford soon, but I felt his end product, open play end product, left a lot to be desired. He's getting into the right positions though, so that's assuring.
Let's talk about it now because I mean I think 6.5 millimeters, especially for people like me who unfortunately needed a mid replacement this week. I think the 6.5 mid now is, we talked about it even in preseason, like there's so many of them, you want to have more than one, and now I think we have enough evidence to suggest that you can have two 6.5 mids easy. It's worth saving there. So I still thought the fact that Mbeumo was on pens, like we needed a little more
Well, but we
confirmation.
knew that. That wasn't new information, right?
Yeah,
We
but he's
knew
good
he
at
was
that.
on
Like he
pens.
did the Jorginho hop skip, like that. He's picked that up from Tony. I like that. Yes, he missed the other chance that he had. He had a really good chance in open play, but that's those things do happen, right? 6.5. But I think against Spurs, for him to get a goal and come close to scoring from open play is pretty decent. Next week he's got Fulham. Fulham gave up almost 3 xg against Everton, and Everton are really bad. And they have Neil Maupay, French ball striker who doesn't convert his chances, and Brentford have Brian Mbeumo, who is. also similar, but he's on pens.
Well,
I
Watkins,
still
I
think
mean,
you
Villa
go. Yeah.
plays at home against Everton next. So also a good fixture. Very close, I think. But it's really hard to pick one 6.5 mid out actually. Mitoma returned, so good pick. He's always involved. March scored. To me, I think he's marginally better than Mitoma. Looking at the game, it feels like Mitoma ball carrier crossing it in. They don't really attack down March's flank because most of it goes to Estupina and goes to Mitoma. And then March is there to finish, although he has one of the worst conversion rates. I read last season, I think he scored, 7 goals? Something like that, but had like 60 shots or something. A conversion rate of 8 or 9%. But yeah, so March seems more like the finisher than and Mitoma looks more like the creator. And then you have Mbeumo, who's pen taker up front. You have Diaby, who we already mentioned, also up front playing OOP. You have Eze, who did not return but was really, really good. Like involved in everything, free kicks, corners, open play. If he had strikers who could finish, he would definitely be much higher. And it's actually the reason why I took out Eze. If you remember in our podcast that we did, I was really, really hot on Eze. I still think he's a great player, but I think the day before deadline, I just thought to myself, all right, he's going to create, but who's going to score? Looked at the team. Olise looks like he's leaving, and then Spurs have some links with Eze as well now. So I decided to move against, managed to get some money to upgrade him to Maddison, who worked out really well. But yeah, that would be my concern on Eze, just lack of quality around him.
Speaking of Maddison, would you have Maddison ahead of these 6.5 million mids?
I would. Maddison involved in everything Spurs does. So kind of the same as the others, except he plays for a better team. Hopefully. If he had a striker who could score, a striker better than Richarlison, he would have a few more assists in the last game, I think.
Well, they're talking about signing Lukaku, so I guess no is the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk Arsenal, right? So Arsenal Forest. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. Like we never seemed to really get out of second gear. Like we scored early and then just sort of sat on it. The XG I feel is a bit misleading. A lot of people have picked up on this that Forest had more XG, but I think that's just to do with game state, like they were chasing, so they started having chances.
Because of the counter-attacking nature of their chances, they tend to be higher XG.
Yeah, Awani scored from point blank range, so it's not like that's why the XG is high. You obviously didn't have Gabriel, so you didn't feel too upset about this. But I think for those who had
Martinelli.
You had Martin. Beautiful assist.
One out of 3 Gabriels. I got the right one.
I don't think. Do you think he meant it? That Rabona turn or whatever he did.
I would like to think so. I think so. I mean, I don't know. You gotta ask him. I'm just happy he got an assist and he didn't blank. Although the moment I saw Nketiah was starting, I got worried. Well documented that his returns kind of dried up when Nketiah started. We'll see how that goes the next few weeks, but at least he still got an assist.
Yeah, hard to draw a lot from this game. Sample size obviously just one game, but it did feel like Martinelli was really wide. Like if you look at the screen now, didn't get any shots at all, which is weird for Gabriel Martinelli, who's so direct generally. It still feels like we're working this out, like how to play with everybody. Like Havertz had an okay game, was the spare man in a lot of places, but they didn't seem to pass to him. Like even the goal where Nketiah scores, he probably has a simple pass to Havertz who's open, but he doesn't do it, which is fair. He's a striker, but it just feels like they're still figuring this out. So wait and see, but still a good team, and I think they'll do enough to get the win. So I'm okay holding all my Arsenal assets.
I think Saka's still the number one asset, but I had to downgrade Saka to Martinelli to fund my move to Maddison. Worked out kind of okay because Martinelli got the assist. I don't know how sustainable is it moving forward. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect, like, for those who like me didn't go for Saliba, I'm not stressing out because I mean, you see the goal, it's not really his assist, right? He just wins the ball and Saka does the rest. So I mean, it is what it is. I wouldn't stress out too much if you don't have Saliba.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk, just generally top XG performers for this week. Anybody here who stands out to you? We got Edward, Wilson, Solanke, Bobby Reed. One game sample sizes. Neil Morphy, of course. Yeah. Anyone here stands out?
Luis Diaz, I think, looked pretty good for that few minutes that where Liverpool had control in the first, I don't know, what was it, 15 minutes, 20 minutes
Yeah.
of the game before
Yeah,
they
about
totally lost everything. But he looks good. If he can keep it up, I think he will be the standout pick out of Liverpool mids. Klopp seems to love him. I mean, last season he was injured a lot, so we can't say for sure. But before that, and even as he was coming back from injury, Klopp was so happy to start him again. I think he needs that his qualities on the left. So we just want to monitor. Nico Jackson's there in the list, pretty good. Nothing much you can get right from just one game. Like you said, one game sample sizes don't really tell you much.
Yeah, I think what's probably interesting is just that Luis Diaz stayed on the pitch longer than even Salah, which probably
Which was
suggests that
such a big surprise.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Salah was surprised.
he was. Every step he took, he's ripping off his wristband, and I really hope he gets benched against Bournemouth. But it's not going to happen. But it would be
No,
really
it's not
funny
going to
if he did.
happen.
Sam says confidently. Let's see. All right, let's talk fixtures. We have a question here. How would, from Massa and J, how would 2 4 million keepers fare into a team now that we have 2 starting regularly, Areola at West Ham and Turner, who's playing for Forest? I mean, for those of you who are considering a wild card this early, wouldn't do it. But if you were, would you go 2 4 million keepers?
I would not. The risk is just too high. Areola, presuming Areola is Hammer's number 1 choice, but that could change at any time. Few bad performances in a row. Fabianski, what's he? How old is he? 39?
37, I think, yeah.
Yeah, but he can come back in. Turner, I mean, Nottingham Forest apparently still looking for a keeper. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Henderson will stay. That doesn't mean that Nottingham will just, all right, so I'll just not get another keeper then. They're going to look for someone else. Whether Turner stays number 1 or not, we don't know for sure. He might not. He might be number 1 for 10 games and then get dropped. Who knows? I wouldn't do it. I would, because I don't want to make a keeper transfer down the line if both of them gets dropped. And number 2, I don't think both of them are keeping many clean sheets. So just pay the extra 0.5 and get a proper keeper from a proper team.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, how even like, if you had Pickford or whatever, no matter how bad the team is, they play. I think that's the most important thing for now. We've got this FDR chart from Fraser and Lego Mane, which just sort of shows neither West Ham nor Forest have particularly good rotation fixtures anyway. So, I mean, you're saving 0.5 mil with the risk of them losing their place. It just feels like it's not worth it. You stick with somebody who's actually going to play. And even Jason Steele's now a no-go, right? Because De Zerbi said he will be rotating with Verbruggen. So, yeah, just
which is pretty much what we expected. So,
yeah, annoying that he had to confirm that, though. I was hoping people would go for Steele. Speaking of fixtures, right, just before we move on, you see, fixtures now for Chelsea really opening up. How soon is Nicholas Jackson coming into your team?
As soon as I have a reason to transfer out Watkins.
Oh, yeah, you have Watkins. Yeah.
I have Watkins, yeah. I mean, as long as he's doing okay, I'm not going to spend a transfer, shift. So I'm not going to spend a transfer to change my formation. That will be a waste of transfer. So we'll see.
Are you ready to admit that you were wrong about Joao Pedro and, that he is the best asset in this game?
He can't score. Non-pen goals, apparently.
Who cares, man? He scored. He's 5.5 mil. He played, 87 minutes, and he scored.
What was my argument against Joao Pedro was that he could get dropped at any time. Not necessarily in the first game, but he could get dropped in the second game, in the third game. If the next game he plays badly, he could be dropped. They have so many options. Could play Encico there. Yeah. They have Brighton. They have so many players all of really good quality. Probably some players that we don't know how good they are yet until they start playing, and next season Chelsea buys them for 120 mil or something like that. So,
Yeah, so
so yeah. That's the argument against Pedro, is that he is not really secured because there are so many options. Although for 5.5, it's a risk worth taking, I guess.
yeah, but that's to your point, right? Why did I have 5.5 million Luke Shaw? It's because I have Joao Pedro, and I'm that was my
That's so much money.
plan
Just
for a
throwing it
rainy day.
everywhere.
Yeah, much like Chelsea. Okay, let's talk big issue this week, because most people are making transfers. So let's talk captaincy, right? So we got Vardy boys, long listener of the pod. Tempted to go against Haaland captaincy. Is Estupinan a viable alternative without any Liverpool assets? So unlike you, Sam, a lot of people just don't own any Liverpool players. And I mean, who do you go if you don't have Salah? Hard for you to think. We've got the
Haaland,
projections.
I guess.
Yeah, we've got projections here from FPL Review, which again, we're not paid for, so this is not a sponsored ad, but they suggest going Haaland. Haaland's got higher goal scoring odds than even Salah, which I was surprised by. Home to Newcastle. So you think just be boring and go Haaland, even though you didn't captain Haaland in Game Week 1?
Which didn't work out so well.
No, it did not.
But yeah, I mean, if you don't have Salah, Captain Haaland, right? It's Haaland at home. If I'm not mistaken, he scored all of his hat tricks at home last year. That was some.
Okay.
How many hat tricks did he score last year? An
Last
insane
count,
amount, right? And if I'm not mistaken, all of it was at home. And I know I can't remember the stats. I should have prepared for this, Siva. But I know a big percentage of his hauls last season, his double-digit hauls, were at home. Something like 60-70%. Anyway, Captain Haaland, he's playing at home. I know Newcastle, but Newcastle got spanked last year too. So
and since
think
I
about
presume
it.
you're on Captain Haaland, Captain Haaland.
Yeah.
Oh, if
I'm
only
gonna
the captain.
captain Salah against Bournemouth. Hopefully, 9-0 again, but hopefully with Salah involved this time.
Yeah, aren't you scared, Sam? Because I mean, I remember Game Week 9 last season where people didn't want to captain Haaland because he was home to Man United, and they captained Salah against a team that started with the letter B, Brighton, not Bournemouth, and Salah got 5 points. And I don't think that's like an unlikely outcome this week, no?
I mean, as long as I have Salah for this fixture, I will captain. It's a good fixture. It's
Is
still it is home against Bournemouth. Come on, it is a good fixture. I'm not saying Liverpool's gonna keep a clean sheet. A nice 4-3 win. Dominic Solanke hat trick.
Yeah, let me try it. Okay, I think you're sort of set on this. Like, you made your decision when you put Salah in your Game Week 1 draft, right?
Yeah.
But let me try and let me try and talk you out of it. Okay, just give me hear me out, right? Because
okay, wait, Siva. Before you even start, there's no way I'm going to captain Haaland this week. I'll tell you that. But you can try and convince me to captain someone else.
Okay, I mean, I'll deal with like the second part later, right? As to how I convince you not to, to captain Haaland, because I mean, I don't think I need much convincing. It's Haaland, right? You don't need a reason. But first of all, he's playing Bournemouth, and I think a lot of people keep thinking Bournemouth, same as last season, like they're going to be fighting relegation. They're a poor team. They haven't really signed anybody. Actually, they brought in a really good coach. Like, for those who don't know, right, Andoni Iraola, I think, used to coach Rayo Vallecano before he came. He was quite highly sought after. Like, people are surprised he's gone to Bournemouth. Bournemouth, since they've got new ownership, very modern, sort of like Brighton and Brentford, making signings based on data, and they're signing players you wouldn't expect.
And to add to that, Vallecano last year was really, really good defensively in La Liga.
Yeah, and Vallecano, the context of this, why it's important, is they were a promoted team as well, with not much funds. So similar to Bournemouth in that sense. And what I was really impressed by is Irola's record against the big teams. So 2021, he beats Barcelona 1-0. 2022, beats Barcelona at the Nou Camp 1-0, draws 0-0 at home. And then 2023, he beats Barcelona 2-1 at home. So Barcelona at this time either second or first in the league. So he's got, and his record against Madrid and Atletico is around the same. It's equally impressive. I feel like this could be a problem for Liverpool. Like, I don't see this as an easy fixture. I would feel okay if you told me Salah against Luton, Sheffield United, maybe Everton. I think that's about it. I don't think I would captain him if I had him. This is why I ended up not having him. But I
Hmm.
don't feel as certain as you are, Sam, about this being like a banker.
I don't. That's a good point. Although your stats from a previous team does not necessarily transfer immediately into a new team, it takes time to settle. You don't have the same players and things like that. I do see your point, Siva. But if you have Salah, I feel it's a waste not to captain him. It is a good fixture on paper at least, and it is maybe one of your few chances to gain ground against Haaland backers at least.
Could be
Now,
a chance
whether
to
it
lose.
works or not, yeah, I mean, it could be. It could be. It's a risky play, I guess. Whenever you captain someone whose name is not Erling Haaland, but it's a risk worth taking. I feel at least at this stage of the season.
Okay. And to Vadi Boy's point, I guessing you're not sold on an Estupinan captain. Or I did briefly look at Chilwell being a possible captaincy choice. He has scored against West Ham before, for whatever it's worth. But I mean, it just seems like silly. Like if you're not going with Salah, I mean, Haaland's just an easy pick and
Yeah,
good for probably at least a
I don't
goal.
think I would ever captain a defender because
Have you never done it?
I think I may have captain Leighton Baines some time back, but um, I don't know. Just the chance of a haul is so low. You basically need an attacking return and a clean sheet at the same time. Now
I
clean
think,
sheets easily wiped out
yeah, easy one.
because Brighton were kind of leaky anyway against Luton.
Yeah.
Then you're hoping for attacking return, and how many attacking returns would you consider a good season for a defender? 10. If you spread it
Yeah.
out, five goals, 5 assists. So that's 1 in 3, no, 1 in 4, a little bit less than that, right?
Yeah.
It's just the chance of everything falling into place that 1 week it's low. I would rather captain an attacking player.
Yeah, it just feels so random. Like one mistake, like even this week, Brighton lose their clean sheet because ref gives a pen that's maybe not a pen, and then suddenly you lose your entire clean sheet. Like it just feels really random. Yeah, I think a Haaland goal is less random and quite likely to happen anyway. So yeah, I think Haaland captaincy. I still think this Salah thing is not gonna work, Sam. But I like that you are committed to your principles.
Yeah. If there's one thing I am, Siva, I'm committed to my principles.
For those who have to make a transfer this week, we spoke about other mids. I really wanted to do Morgan Gibbs White in, which everybody says like you're crazy. Why would you want him in? The problem
Oh,
is their
Morgan
fixture.
Gibbs is great. It's a great player,
This
but
like this week
Forest
they
are
play
only
Sheffield
playing
United.
at home, and they are
Yeah,
playing Sheffield United at home.
at home. Yeah. So I mean, if you need somebody for this week, he's really good, but the fixtures are just really bad. So he holds this week, but it's just one of those you can't, not a long term transfer, sadly.
I would consider a Forest defender, a cheap one, 4.5. Play him this week and then bench him, for the next few fixtures and come in. That's fine because, yeah, I mean, it depends on your team, who you have, how you want to rotate your defenders and stuff like that. For me, I have Mings, so I need to get him out because he's injured. I've been looking for a 4.5 defender, and I'm seriously considering a Forest defender actually.
It's hard though, right? Because you got Chelsea defenders at 4.5, you got Botman at
Yeah.
4.5.
So I already have Botman, but Botman's a bad fixture this week. I have Anderson as well, who also has a bad fixture this week. So, a Forest defender will work out for me because they play 1 week. The following weeks, I'll be playing Anderson, I'll be playing Botman. I don't, he can stay on the bench for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Oh, we didn't say. Yeah, you have Joachim Anderson, 9-pointer against Sheffield United.
I
Yeah.
do. It worked out so well. I got him because of his bonus potential, fully vindicated because he finished with 3 bonus points. So that went well. And he almost scored a goal too with a long shot.
Yeah, I mean that's why you're here, Sam. You think outside the box. I wouldn't have even considered Joachim Anderson. So fair play
Yeah.
to you.
Botman assist was something I did not expect at all. I would have to say. I think outside the box, but that's too far out of the box. Like I would think he had a higher chance of scoring from a header than actually providing assist, but it happened. So
One of the
can't complain.
rare occasions. You're not scared about not owning Joao Pedro this week?
I'm
He's
not scared about not owning Joao Pedro this week.
very high on goal scorer odds. I'm surprised to see him. He's here. This is obviously assuming he plays 90 minutes. He's higher than Jota and Watkins at home to Everton.
What do you think about Ferguson? Came on squad.
Um,
Could he start this week ahead of Welbeck? I think there's a high chance.
he ought to. I thought Welbeck was really annoyingly poor. Like Welbeck missed the
Mm.
chance. Well, he hit the post, which Pedro set him up for. Feels like Ferguson deserves a shot, but I think he's just low on fitness. I think that's the only reason why he didn't start. So yeah,
Mm.
he could have a chance of starting. I'm a
And then
little
it's just
annoyed that
0.5 more than Pedro.
yes, but I mean Pedro's got pens, mate. I mean, I think if
Yeah,
anything you
but
saw,
Ferguson plays further forward.
pens are
Joao
king, mate.
Pedro
Pens
kind
are
of a 10.
Joao Pedro kind of 10, but Joao Pedro basically died for that penalty. That's why I like to see my players. Like, when you're not getting anything, you go and find a penalty. Like that's what you want
Yeah.
in a player.
Garnacho tried that, didn't work out.
Then did not work out. Yeah.
I have Garnacho,
Okay.
by the way, for viewers who don't know our teams. Got him in as a
You
last minute punt for fun.
well, he did
Just
start.
for vibes. He started, which is what I expected, but he didn't play well, which does not bode well for his future starts.
Yeah, but to be fair, United as a team didn't play well, right? So I mean, you
Yeah.
never know. Yeah.
And I guess I'm okay with a few more weeks. Even if he doesn't start, he'll probably come on, and coming on late can be a good thing for a player like Garnacho, who's really direct.
Yeah. And he's 5 mil. You can bench him. I mean, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
I think there are people who have triple United today who are waking up and regretting it. So, you having a 5 million United player, I don't think it's as big a problem as it would have been last week.
True. Oh, just a word on Villa defenders, right? I don't think it's a goal. Because I do see a lot of people saying, oh, Mings is out, let's get Torres because he's probably nil.
Oh, wait.
I think with Mings out, they ain't keeping any clean sheets. They were so bad without him. I don't know how they'll do. If they keep playing their high line, I don't know how Pau Torres will deal with it because he's kind of slow. And adapting to the physicality of Premier League and all that kind of nonsense. So
Yeah, Emery clearly doesn't play FIFA because Pau Torres' biggest problem is agility very low. So, I mean,
exactly. Yeah, not suitable for a high line. So but we'll see how that goes. But I wouldn't go in for another Villa defender right now.
Yeah, easy avoid, I think. I think that's it for this week, Sam. Not much to sort of do. If you can roll, I guess you roll. It's just captaincy, really. Anything else?
I always say that every year, but I always make a game week 2 transfer. I'm just saying. It works sometimes. Last year, it did not work at all. It killed my rank. I think I had like 500k rank in game week 1, and I ended up with a 4 mil rank in game week 2 because I made some stupid transfers.
I think you took out Jesus. Jesus got like 19
No, I
points.
didn't take out
right?
Jesus. I took out KDB, who hauled in game week 2. Anyway, that's last season. The past is the past.
Yeah, I sadly had to make it roster. So yeah, KDB out this week. It is what it is. I mean, if you have to make one, you make one. I wouldn't stress too much about it. The one thing I will say is if you do save, the good thing is Chelsea play the early game in game week 3. So we will probably get leaks and that could help because
Yeah, leaks after the website crashes like 5 minutes before deadline or something like that.
yeah, it will start crashing as it did this season again. Nothing's gonna change, man. Is what it is. You just can't get too upset about this. I see a lot of people ranting about it and raving about it. And yeah, I kind of get that, but
wait, hang on, Siva. Do we even need Chelsea leaks? I think their team is pretty settled.
I don't know. Reece James could be tired again, mate. Friday night, late at night.
Oh, Malo
Maybe Gusto
Gusto.
starts. Yeah, Malo
Gusto is
Gusto starts.
4.0, by the way, for those of you who don't know. If Reece gets proper injured, you have a starting 4.0 wing back who is really attacking, actually. Gusto is pretty good. It's a good player. So
yeah. And of course, they does look like they won't sign another forward because apparently they're not letting Broja go off on loan. So I think that's really good for Nicholas Jackson. Hopefully he doesn't score this week because I really want him to be a differential in game week 3 because he's definitely coming in.
all right. So are we ending with oh no, we already talked captain. Is that all, Siva? That's it?
That's all, mate. Now we're just padding for time.
So get your green arrows.
Yeah, and we will see you next week.